Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
Jenifer Rose.
And this is the midweek version of Fiber Talk, the twice weekly podcast for needlework artists.
Yes.
All right, a bunch of logistical things here. So this will be our last midweek show until we return on January something, January 10. Yes.
All right.
So we'll be taking our break, and then we'll have a stitch hour, a live stitch hour on January 10. So we'll take our annual holiday break. And then Sunday we'll have a podcast, the Needlepoint Dads. So it's going to be an all-male show.
Oh,
I told Beth, sorry, it's all guys. So Harvey Kravis and Dan Blackwelder are the Needlepoint Dads, designing needlepoint and stitching. And so it's going to be an all-male show to end the year. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun.
Hey, why not?
Yeah.
So no stitch hour tonight. That'll be back. We'll resume on the 10th with a stitch hour on the 10th, and then we'll be back to our regular shows. So we're going to take, we usually take about this much time off anyway. So, but then this Friday, the 15th at 3 o'clock Eastern time will be a WIP parade. That'll be a live show. So that'll be on the YouTube channel at 3 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be recorded if you're working or whatever, but,
right. Yeah.
So we're going to
watch it back.
Yeah. We're going to do a Cindy WIP parade on this Friday, December 15 at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Cindy's had to do a little paring back, I think, to fit it into a reasonable amount of time. So.
Oh, really?
So that'll be live on the 15th. And then Christmas Day at 3 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to do a stitch-in like we did on Thanksgiving Day, only we're announcing it rather than just having it show up. So if you're by yourself like Margaret and me, join us for hour and a half. We'll be stitching and just chatting. Cindy and Robin Rossignol will be with us, and maybe you. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what you never know really what we're doing that day. I mean, we're home, but if it's nice, we might go somewhere with Sophie.
Sure. Well,
or, I don't know.
You know how to call in if you're available. So
yes,
even if it's just part of it, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And then Beth will have family. Her kids usually are home for Christmas, so she'll probably be out, but maybe she'll be fed up with them and enjoy us. I don't know.
Yes.
But anyway, Robin and Cindy and I will be there, and then we'll see who else joins us. So join us a Christmas Day if you're alone or you've simply had enough of your family and or in-laws, and say, I'm out, bye, and go to your room and join us. So going to do that Christmas Day. Just, hey, why not? It's fun. That was fun Thanksgiving Day. So
yeah, I missed it, and I've been busy. I haven't watched it yet either, but I'm gonna.
Yep. So yeah, I didn't. I actually put my camera on my stitching and actually stitched, so it was kind of weird.
Yeah, I saw like in the YouTube pop up that it shows your stitching, so actually, it wasn't just chitty chat.
Yeah, because normally those live shows I can't stitch and monitor all the other things. So yep. So that'll be Christmas Day, and then New Year's Day we always have a show at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and we celebrate Jenifer's birthday so we can break out the tiara. But now this New Year's Day, our son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter moved from Phoenix back to Illinois, which puts them within driving distance of us. And our granddaughter's first birthday is January 4th, so they're having a party on New Year's Day for her.
Yeah.
So obviously, Mark and I are going to be at that. But so the New Year's Day show is in jeopardy a bit here, but I'm going to see if I can figure out some way to save it. But the chances are pretty slim. So,
I mean, she's 1, I'll be 51.
Yeah. Yeah, you might lose out to the 1-year-old. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll figure something out. If maybe we'll do it on another day. I don't know. We'll figure something out. So
right.
Because we've celebrated your birthday, and the tiara is kind of important. So
well, yeah, Always just wear it every single time we podcast for the rest of next year,
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Oh, you're like,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'd have to send a note to your husband to say, see if she's okay.
He's like, I check every day, and I don't know, whatever.
So watch this space. We may have an alternative to New Year's Day, but right now that one's looking pretty iffy because the 1-year-old granddaughter wins out. Sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
Those are fun birthday parties, though. So
yeah. Oh,
that's not one to miss.
Nope. So So Sunday's guest, the Needlepoint Dads. That'll be our last podcast till we start again with a stitch hour on the 10th, and yeah. So that's our deal. And because of the long gap, the people who won our last stitch hour last week, 2 weeks ago, won the Avlia kits. Just to get it on the record, Sue Duell, I think it's Dulle. I'm going to go Duell. Susan Ankeny and Kathy Gerhart were the 3 winners, and we're recording this on Monday, and Margaret took those to the post office today, so you'll have them well before Christmas. So those are the 3 winners, just so it's on the record that we did a drawing and announced the winners. So
right.
There we go. Yep.
Very good.
Yep. Be sure and check out last Sunday's show with Sylvia Stecker, Running with Needles and Scissors.
Yeah, that was good.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed talking to her, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, listening to all the different ways and how she got into it and all that stuff. So.
I was fascinated. I'm still fascinated by her trail running.
Oh.
That is one tough sport, I'll tell you. No thanks.
Yeah, sometimes I can't walk through my house without running and tripping
and
stuff, so it's not going to happen. My husband would be like, you're going to do what? No, that's the same with whittling. I wanted to, no, you can't play with a knife in your hand? No, you're not doing that either.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I want to whittle. He's like, no.
Yep. I know what you mean. Yeah. Walk from the front door to the back door without tripping, and she's out running on trails in the mountains. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and Beth, I'm blaming this one all on Beth. Beth Beloved is the chart that stood out for us from Sylvia Stecker, and I'm blaming this all on Beth. Beth is making noise about a start along for the Running with Needles and Scissors Beloved chart sampler. So watch this space. Yeah.
You guys have fun with that, because I'm already going to be starting my Little Sheep Virtues, and which is a biggie, and I've got other biggies. I didn't even finish I wanted to finish my New Year's start from last year, like this year, and because of all that craziness with us packing my house, because I was gonna move but didn't. So
you're sticking to your guns, okay?
Yeah, yep. But I mean, I'm still starting my Little Sheep Virtues, but I just need to work extra hard on stuff this next year.
Yeah, well, I should do the same, yeah. Well, Beloved is the sampler. Vicki Clayton Silks are the threads of choice. So,
I know, I saw it's gorgeous, but
yeah, it is. Yeah, I have to. I have a chart coming. Beth has a chart coming, and a set of silks for the chart coming. But those were ordered without the plan for a start along. But now Beth, Beth's making noise, so we may, if I know Beth, we're doing it. So hit up Running with Needles and Scissors for Sylvia Stecker for Beloved, because it's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna start it because I need to start another thing. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I need to
like
have.
I do too. Yeah.
Another thing that's not finished. So, yep. We talked about on our live show 2 weeks ago the pony needles.
Right.
And so that was a live show. So I just wanted to bring that up again, because people have been talking about these, and what is it? Their color, like they're dipped in something.
Yeah, the eyes are different colors depending on the size of the needle. But I mean, not all of them, just some of them.
Yeah.
And then like other ones are the black ones are supposed to be the hypoallergenic or something for people who have problems with whatever, is it nickel?
Yeah, nickel plating, yeah.
Right. And people really, and I don't think those have different colored tips. I'm not sure. Those might be just solid. But I didn't like the ones with the different color eye because I can feel the transition and it's a different texture and I can feel it move through the linen, and that bugs me, and it bugs me with knitting needles too. I don't like that.
Yeah. So so
But
some
that's
knitting
just me.
needles are
Yeah, some
oh.
knitting needles have like a different little tip on the end, and a lot of them, I mean, really, you can't, but I can feel it. It just bugs me. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got their little fuss, and I
Right.
don't like that. So.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was interesting because you see people post about them and wonder about them, and some people just love them. And
Yeah.
then I knew you had tried them, and you were not impressed. Yeah.
No, I was like, they're not all the hype as far as I'm concerned, but that's me. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Now, in using them, you probably didn't use them very long. Did you see the color wearing off? Or you didn't use it enough?
Oh, did it start chipping off a little bit, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. It just was bugging me.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't like anything on needles or on the ground cloth that I think is going to wear or transfer elsewhere.
Right. Well, it won't transfer, but I just felt too that maybe the inside of the eye of the needle was a little too rough on the thread.
Yes. Oh, that's
because it's dipped in something. There can be a burr.
Right. Yeah, that's a big no-no.
Oh, yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, I just wasn't liking it. I gave it a good chance. I was like, okay, and lots of different days, and finally I was like, all right, this is not, no, done with these.
Yep.
Glad I only bought one pack because it's over.
Because see that the needle, to me, that's something that if you start thinking about your needle and how it's performing, it's time to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. To me, that shouldn't even be on the mental list as you're stitching.
Right.
Is the thread fraying? Is it staying in the needle? Do I have enough length to make it to the end of this row? All those things. But whether your needle's tearing up your threads or dragging going through the ground cloth, it should never be on the list. And for me, that's, no.
Yep.
Different needle, thank you.
Yep, they were bugging me, so I was like, all right, I tried it, and now I'm done.
Yeah. But the nickel thing, that's very real. I have that problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have to, and where it shows up for me is with watch bands.
Right.
So I always have to make sure that the buckle, the watch band, the buckle, or the whatever else is in the band does not have nickel, because it'll be okay for a while, and then the finish wears off or something, and then it's just raw nickel, and before I know it, I'm scratching underneath my watch band because it starts to itch, and then it starts to get red, and some people really react violently to it.
Yeah, my husband's got sensitive skin, and he can't wear watches, rings, none of that stuff.
No.
So, which it's fine. Half the time I don't wear my wedding ring. So
yeah. But
actually, I've been getting better with it. I've been remembering more, but
yeah, nickel. Like, I don't have any trouble with any other metals, but nickel. I react to it, and a lot of people do. So, and I remember when I think that was when the first Apple Watches came out. They had the buckles on them were nickel, and of course, Apple Watch you wear more
24/7.
Yeah,
I wear mine. Except
I do
shower.
too. Yeah, and I know that became a problem, but when I got my Apple Watch, that was the first thing was I made sure that I didn't have any nickel, because it's got to be stainless steel or nylon, rubber, whatever. But so and needles. Well, and I think that when you see people who their needles tarnish.
Yeah, I've heard about that, where people whatever they have in their skin ruins the finish of the needles fast, so they have to change them. And I've never had that. Like, I could use the same, and I did for years, use the same needle, and then I have one of those polishing strawberries that if I felt it was getting a little, you can tell when it's not sliding nice,
Right.
You just do the polishing strawberry, cleans it right up, it's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen pictures of people that their skin is so acidic that they just eat through needles, and
Wow.
I mean, nothing they can do. It's just the way they're made up. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I've
don't know
seen
if
some
there's
pictures of
anything.
needles that are really clearly corrosive, and I just thought, wow, you have to monitor that and make sure you switch out your needles, because that's there's
It's interesting.
there's another opportunity to put a little stain. It's always, for me, it's always the concern for white
Right.
thread.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or just putting a stain or getting a discoloration on your fabric.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll pass on the pony needles. I wasn't going to do them anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like my tulip needles, and what other brand do I use? But they work for me and they hold up. Yeah. So, yeah.
I like the Peacemakers, and because I started that embroidery class at Colchester Mills Fabric, and so I bought a bunch of tulip needles there, like milliners.
Yeah.
And stuff, and yeah, I really like those. And then I just got some new. I wasn't really liking the needles that were coming in the kits for the Sashiko I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought some tulip ones, and wow, they're pointier. I kept feeling like the other ones were too dull, like they weren't going through the fabric,
Yeah.
And so I got these other ones, and boy, they're a lot pointier and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Peacemaker was what I was trying to come up with, but to me, people say tulip needles are so expensive.
I don't think they're that expensive.
I don't think they're that bad either, and I don't care, because I just think they're just really nice to use. So
yeah, no, I know I haven't used cross stitch needles, but I did just buy some chenilles, because I had some chenille needles, not realizing they were DMC chenille.
Ooh.
Which they're just DMC, that back in the day, when
sandpaper on thread
stitching,
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to make good needles, but not anymore. Like, don't buy the DMC.
Yeah, that's something that just baffles me. I don't know what happened. The staple for stitching thread, and then their needles are, because you're not the first person who said that the eyes tore up their thread, and you'd think they would have top quality needles, but nope.
I don't know if they changed their manufacturer and people are just so used to buying them.
Yeah.
I didn't know all the, like I've said before I went to that Celebrations of Needlework up in New Hampshire with my friends, I didn't know all this cross-stitch stuff existed and all these different needles, and I didn't know about fancy floss, and never heard of Blackbird Designs or any of these that have been around forever.
Yeah.
But because I'd never been to a real cross-stitch store or an event, I'd never seen this stuff. So for me, it was like, whoa, what's all this?
Yeah. Yeah. Who was I talking to recently that commented about that there's somebody, it'll come to me after we're done recording, but that there's still a large number of people who even today are in that situation where they're just not aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
And I only became aware like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago for me.
Well, it must have been like stopping your tracks. Holy smokes, where'd all this come from?
Yeah, well, the whole reason I kind of started even looking into cross stitch was I was knitting a lot, watching knitting podcasts, and some of the knitters were getting into cross stitch using Clouds Factory. They make the cutesy stuff and they sell online. Right. So I'm like, oh, and so I started kind of looking online and discovering more stuff and discovering floss tube. And then that's when I went to Thistle and it all just kind of happened at once. And then they took me to Celebrations, and that's the first time I saw over 1 or a 40 count. I was like, oh, it's so tiny. Oh my God, what is this? I lost my mind. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I never had that, because when I learned needlepoint, it was a full metal painted canvas needlepoint store in a suburb of Detroit. Mm-hmm. And then when I got out of, that was in college, and when I got out of college and moved to the suburbs of Chicago, that was when the cross stitch stores were, on every corner next to a gas station kind of thing.
Right.
And so, where I lived, there were 2 or 3 cross stitch stores within 20 miles, and they were the full metal thing. So I've always had exposure to the whole deal. And so I can't even imagine what it'd be like to walk into a store not knowing any of that exists. Wow.
Yeah. You walk in, you're like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah, and then I want one of everything. Yeah.
Yes. And then, I go into Ruth's Stitchery in Colorado Springs and they have punch needle and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I can't imagine. Yeah. Okay. So what now, you're doing Sashiko
right.
class. Tell about that. What is that about?
So the Sashiko is it's that Japanese stitching that looks like big quilt stitching, but it comes from Japan and it was used for mending fabric and making fabric stronger and warmer way back in the day. Because apparently there were rules and laws that peasants couldn't wear bright colors or certain fabrics and stuff. They had to wear dull colors and like the indigo. Yeah, I mean,
lighten up.
This is way a long, long time ago. So so I took this class with Rachel. Oh gee, of course now I can't remember her name. I can find her on Instagram real quick. In here in Connecticut at Madison Wool. Let me look her up. Rachel Barclay.
Okay.
And she likes to do the mending a lot. So she has mending classes. She has that little bag class like I did, And then we're taking a class with her in March where it's this fold up cover. It's like a wrap. It looks like a towel or something, and you wrap your lunch in it and wind it around with this big long tassel, or you wrap presents with it. It's like a fabric wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So we're making that. So anyway, I took the class with her, and I got really interested in it. My friend Nancy's really interested in it. So then I saw on Domestika. Do you know Domestika?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They had an introduction to Japanese Sashiko stitching class. So, and it was and I think right now, I'm not sure if it's still going on, but Domestika has their classes really cheap, like $9 or something. And so I bought it because I'm like, yeah. And this guy, Atsushi Futatsuya, probably saying it wrong. He grew up in a family in Japan where Sashiko was their livelihood.
Uh-huh.
And so then he moved to the States in his early 20s, and then he got into teaching it and stuff, and he tells about it. And he likes to tell about the culture behind it too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you get the history then. Oh, that's always great. Yeah.
Yeah, you get some history, you get the culture behind it. Then he shows and explains about the thread, the Sashiko thread does, so you don't have to make knots.
Mm-hmm.
You just weave it together, 3 or 4 stitches, you just weave on top of each other, and then you leave the tails hanging out. And then after you're all done stitching, you soak it in water for half an hour to an hour. And then the fibers, they kind of open up, and then when it dries, they kind of meld back together, kind of like felting.
Huh.
And they make it strong, and they smoosh, and you don't have to make a knot. And he says that the more you wash it and stuff, the tighter and tighter that bond gets.
So if you're mending clothes then...
But he does say with mending clothes, you should use a knot because you're putting 2 different fabrics together.
Yeah, okay. But still, even if you are, the bond between the patch and the original fabric then is pretty strong just by itself. That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the thread?
It's a special. It is a special. It's like unmercerized cotton.
Oh.
And it's there's 3 weights. There's a heavy weight, a regular weight, and a fine weight, depending on maybe different fabrics you're using. And yeah, it's specially woven and twisted for Sashiko so that it does that magic knot thingy. I don't know, and to be strong and stuff,
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of neat. And so this Domestika class then sounds like it's a pretty good class then.
Yeah, I really like it, and I've gone back and I've watched some more of it because I of course have bought some more, this little bunny bag. It's a bag that you do the Sashiko on it. It has a bunny rabbit on there, and then you stitch it up after. They have the handles and stuff. So the top is finished. You just have to stitch the sides.
Mm-hmm.
You just fold it over and stitch the sides shut.
And what's the needlework technique? Is it surface embroidery, or is it just like straight sewing?
It's Sashiko. It's a running
Okay.
stitch. It's a running stitch that's like kind of like big stitch quilting. And you use this thimble that goes over your middle finger and goes all the way down to the bottom and goes onto like the pad of your middle finger.
Really?
Right below the joint. Yeah. And you hold it and you use the needles tend to be kind of long. Not as long as my Tamari needles, but they're longer needle. Especially if you're doing just the big running stitch. If you're doing curves or small, then you can use a smaller needle and do smaller stitches. But if you're just going straight across, because a lot of the patterns just go straight across,
mm-hmm.
and you go back and forth and back and forth. Because he says, this is how the Japanese reinforced their clothing and made it warmer and mended it. So they wanted to be lazy and not have to stop and turn a lot. So you want to make a big, long stitch, you know?
Yeah.
All the way across.
Huh.
And so you put this thimble on the pad of your finger at the bottom of your finger, kind of on your hand, you know, over
mm-hmm.
the knuckle on the inside though. And you hold it and you just rock it back and forth and you rock the fabric and you make the stitches and you work on the rhythm. And then your needle gets really loaded up. So then you have to, instead of pulling the needle out, you hold the needle and pull the fabric off the needle from the bottom.
Okay, so you're rocking it up and down, in and out of holes, and you're just
well, you make the holes because it's just fabric.
Okay.
There's no pre-holes or anything.
And then you let it bunch up on the needle, and then you pull the cloth through.
Right.
How cool.
Yeah, and then after you pull it through, it's all kind of wrinkledy. You have to do this thing where you hold the needle and the fabric and the thread together, and you rub your fingers across to kind of like smooth it out. And that has a name too. He says in the class what the name is. I don't remember. And that really it smushes the fabric and the thread together and makes it like one. So if you've done the smush and then you try to pull it out, it's really hard to undo it.
Huh.
Because the thread and the fabric have really like melded into one almost, you know?
So the fibers kind of do a Velcro thing then.
Yeah.
I'll be darned. And that's called, the technical term, Japanese historical, is smush?
Huh?
No.
I don't know. He says it all because, you know, the guy in the Domestika is from Japan. And he's got an Instagram too, and he has a YouTube.
Yeah.
On Instagram, he's Sashiko Story, and on YouTube, he's the same thing.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So,
Well, I mean, I think smush is a good technical term. So yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Mush it.
Mush it. Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool. So that's fun to do then.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. Like I can see myself using this technique to do my big stitch quilting instead of putting it at the end of my finger, because it's really hard to push that bigger needle through all the stuff.
Uh-huh.
So if I use this technique with a longer needle that can fit my bigger thread, because it's a bigger thread, and I think I could have more fun doing my hand quilting with the big stitch, you know, and I use Pearl 8 for my hand quilting, or Pearl 12.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I think I've found a new method to do my big stitch quilting.
Interesting. Some technique transfer. I gotta love it. Yeah. So the Domestika online, once a week class?
It's just a course you buy. It all comes together.
Oh, okay.
And it's all in. You just do what you want at your own pace. I've watched the whole thing. I haven't actually done the projects, but I've watched all the videos.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a project that they do, and so you buy that project just so you can. Okay.
He shows you how to mark it, because you have to mark the lines, and he talks about that and marking the patterns and stuff. And how to do all of that stuff.
Interesting. Well, I mean, Domestika, that's not new, but I've not talked to anyone who's actually done it. So.
Oh yeah.
Done one of their classes, yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I've been doing my own projects, but I'm listening to what he says and applying it to my own stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Because they have a ton of options, right? Classes.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they have so many and so many different topics. I mean,
yeah,
so many.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
then I got this here, let me pull it out because now I can't remember her name. It's right here with all my stuff. I had to buy a bin to put all of my Sashiko stuff in because it's gotten big.
How come every technique has to have all this? You know,
I know.
There's always got to be a list of.
There's thimbles and needles and where you put your thread and
Yeah.
So I bought the Ultimate Sashiko card deck by Susan Briscoe, and she has a book out too, the Ultimate Sashiko source book, which I also have. So she has this deck though, and it's got 52 different patterns. So that's like basically one for every week in the year, right? It's 52 weeks. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Like I want to do all these, and I was trying to think, what would I do with the final thing? And I thought, I should do a really big, do them all on one panel, and do like a wall hanging thing. So Joanne had linen for garment linen on sale. And so I calculated it out and I made a plan and how many squares by how many squares, 6 inches wide. And I went to Joanne and bought all the fabric, and I'm making mine 2-sided. So one side has the dark blue linen and the other side has like a kind of a darker beige linen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I marked it all out and I basted it all together and I've started working on that. And that like took a whole day, and I spent 4 hours leaning over my kitchen table thread basting this 53 by 53 inch thing together like a crazy person.
Mm-hmm. For the record, saying Joanne's and on sale in the same sentence is redundant.
Not always true.
Yeah. No, it's always true every day.
30% off garment fabric. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they ever sell anything for full price. Probably not. No.
I've bought a lot there for full price.
Okay.
But because I needed it now, and I didn't want to wait for the sale, and there was no coupon.
Ouch.
Yeah. I know, right?
That's a complete Joanne's failure right there. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's interesting. This came to me the other day, and I thought, how many projects, charts, kits, whatever, have I actually sought out versus they just appeared before me and I said, I like that, I want it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to buy a car, you go seek out a car and you try different ones. Yeah. But how many times, and I couldn't come up with one time where I actually sought out a design or said, I'd like to stitch a dog, so I'm going to go look for dog charts.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
No, I've done that. Like I wanted to stitch that hockey thing for my nephew Fisher.
Okay.
So I went online looking for hockey patterns that weren't too difficult though. It had to be pretty easy so I could get it done. And I found the one that I did and bought it and did it, got it done, and he has it.
Okay, because I couldn't come up with one in this entire room of stuff.
Oh.
Where I went looking for it as opposed to it came to me in one form or another, and I said, got to have that one.
Right.
And so it just made me wonder how, if people fall into two camps or if it just depends. Because like for you, that was a gift, so that makes sense. I want to do a gift and the topic, so that makes sense. But just everyday projects that you stitch.
Depends if I want something for something.
Yeah. Okay. So that might be the qualifier then.
I've got this brick thing that I'm doing, which I actually have sitting here that I was going to work on, but now I'm fiddling with my Sashiko. But I want this brick, the doorstop brick thing.
Yeah.
To use for our door so that Sophie doesn't go down the basement stairs.
An admirable thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we want to keep the door open, though, because the air flows and the way we control the humidity in the summer and stuff like that, we want it to stay open, but it can't be open more than like 3 inches.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to keep it at a certain distance.
So rather than just go get a brick out of the yard all covered with dirt, you want something attractive then?
Yeah. Right now...
I just don't understand that.
Right now I'm using this... Have you seen those like chickens that are turned into pincushions?
Yeah.
And it's kind of big. It's like maybe 4 inches by 4 inches triangle shaped chicken pincushion thing. Mm-hmm. So that right now, because it has a little weight to it, it's got some beans in it. That's being used at the moment, but it's just this big red blob on the floor.
Yeah. So you're going to do a brick. All right. So now I have seen those brick designs, but I have never explored them because they don't interest me. Do you actually go get like a red brick that you would use on the side of a house and then wrap it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
This is an Appleton's, one of those Appleton's wool cross-stitch things. So I don't know if their brick is a European brick because it looks a little bit bigger than the American bricks I'm used to looking at.
Oh, they sent you a brick with it?
No, but I mean the size and shape of the thing. So I just might have to have a piece of wood cut to fit.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to put inside it, but I'm going to stitch it and I'll figure that out later.
Okay. Well, I'll be curious on that because I've just wondered if you do a bunch of stitching and then you go get some red brick, which is all rough around the edges, and then you wrap your stitching around that,
You'd wrap some wool or some sort of other fabric or something around it first.
Oh, yeah, I guess you would, yeah.
Clean it, make sure it's dry, wrap something around it first before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that shows where I'm at. Yeah. I figured I'd take my needlepoint canvas and wrap it around the brick, but yeah, I suppose you'd want an interface of some kind. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Never mind. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, even if I was going to stuff something with like those walnut shells, I would want some sort of protective, like don't those people use those to dye fabric?
I know there's no, so I don't get that one.
I would want some sort of I don't know. I don't think that's something I will ever do because I'm like,
yeah, people use that as filler and a lot, and I don't get that unless maybe it's treated. I've never bought any of it, but it seems to me like 6 months from now you'd have oil stains coming out.
Right, like you said, unless it's been treated or something. I don't know, or they do use it, but then you have to make an inner pillow to stuff the other one. Right. I don't know. Yeah,
someone will write to us and tell us if they're treated or not. But
somebody who's done it, let us know because I'm very hesitant, and I'm like, and they're heavy, and I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not. That one does. That makes me want to run away. A lot of things that could add weight without interacting with. And maybe they're all put in a kiln and dried and oil removed. I don't know.
Right, there might be something to it that like a step. I'm not sure, but
And the other part, I've never seen them, so this is complete ignorance. But it also seems like if they're crushed walnut shells, that they would all have sharp edges. Do we want that?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Now it makes me want to go buy or at least see.
I don't know. I've seen them in the stores and stuff, and I look at them, and I'm like, that's nice. I just don't think I'm ever gonna do that.
People use them all the time. It's not like it's.
I know. It's maybe I just don't know enough about it to feel comfortable.
We probably don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just seems to me like oil and sharp edges, two things I wouldn't want near my needlework. Right. But even if you made
don't they have acid? I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, even if you stick your needle, I don't know.
Yeah. But it seems to me like even if you made an inner bag,
it'll still seep through.
Right. It would have to be plastic or some water repellent. Otherwise, it'd seep through. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've never gotten that.
But
I don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm sure we are, because the fact that the stuff is used all the time tells me it must be okay. But
right, there's got to be something else
yeah,
to it.
I don't know. I mean, it's certainly organic, but I don't know. Nope. But I don't. First I have to finish things to finish stitching something before I can worry about finishing it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done some finishing. I got that last cottage, the December cottage from Little House Needleworks.
Oh yeah.
I finally got it stitched and put on the boards and glued together, and it's up.
All right.
It only took like a year and some change.
There we go.
So.
Well, yeah, but in that year you were just doing all the other months. So.
Well, yeah, I did all sorts of other stuff, but I don't know what, like, I liked stitching the cottages, but something about those ones, I had to force myself to do them every. I liked the house part. I think it was the top and the bottom part. Just, I don't know what my problem was with those.
Well, I'd have never finished them if I was in that spot.
Yeah, well, I made myself because I wanted it all done. So.
Yeah.
Like, just do it.
It's like reading a book. Some people, even if they hate the book, they will read it to the end. Not me. I'm out.
Yeah, I've started giving up on books. I used to be like, okay, just finish it. And now I will put it aside for a while and give it a few months. Maybe I'm just not in the right frame of mind, and I'll go back. And I've gone back and been like, oh, I don't know what my problem was. It's fine,
Oh.
But
nope.
But there are some that I'm like, this, no, it's done.
Yeah, if I get halfway through, well, usually the qualifier is somebody has to die violently in the first 10 pages, or I'm generally not interested.
Oh, no.
But yeah, if I get halfway through a book and it's not doing it, I'm out. I just if I don't care how it comes out, then why am I reading this thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'll just pass.
Yeah.
I've always been like that, but yeah, some people will plow through no matter what. Oh, it was a terrible book. Then why'd you read it? Well,
I used to.
Yeah, get another book.
I did that. I bought a book on Audible, and I did listen all the way through, and it was just the most wretched thing. I mean, the story itself was so despicable. I felt polluted after I listened to it.
See, then why do it? Yeah.
I know, but I wanted to see. I'm like, well, okay, so they made this book into a movie. It's that Eileen, the new movie coming out, Eileen.
Oh, I don't know that one. No.
Well, it's got Anne Hathaway, and so I was like, oh, and it was a book. Oh, well, then I want to read the book because it might be really good. Oh, it was just gross.
Oh.
And not in a good way gross. Just I did not like it at all.
See, I don't need that in my head.
So I was waiting to be like, what happens? Like, no, it was just a big story about all the horrible things that go through this girl's head, and just ugh.
Oh.
I was polluted. I didn't like it. I was very not pleased with that.
But it was like a train wreck. You had to stay to the end just to see.
I know, just to see if there was something like, what's the point?
Something redeeming in this book. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like no point even. It was just, so now I don't know what they did to the movie. If it's going to be really different. I have no idea.
Now I know I won't see the movie either. No, not going to happen.
I might see it under, like, it'll come out someday on one of the things I subscribe to, and I'll go, okay, let's see.
No, I'm not. No, I'm out. With Eileen or something like that. All right, Anne Hathaway. I like her, so.
I know, so I don't know if they, like, just took one of the little, like, they might have taken just this one part of the story and built off of that and forgotten the rest of the book. I don't know.
Okay.
Right, you know how sometimes they really change a book.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah.
All right, that's what I'm going to look for just to avoid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. I did not like it.
All right.
Anyway.
The other thing that came to me, it comes to me every time I stitch. Is there an aspect of needlework that you find constantly irritating? No matter what the needlework is.
Huh.
Apparently
not. If I'm in a mood to be irritated, then just about anything can irritate me.
Oops.
There's just some days that I mean, I'm a woman going through perimenopause. I get irritated. So.
Well, you're entitled there.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No?
I'm trying to think.
All right. Well, while you're thinking about it, see, for me, it is starting and stopping stitches.
Okay.
It's starting and finishing off threads. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a necessary evil.
Right.
And if I had an assistant who would start and end threads for me, it's just, I don't know what it is about, and I've never gotten over it.
Huh. I have that with knitting, not crochet, because crochet, but knitting. Starting and stopping the yarn and having to weave in the ends on knitting is a pain in my tuchus.
Yeah.
Crochet's fine because it's much easier to weave in and hide.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't really have that with stitching.
But you don't. Okay, so that's interesting too. That you would have that annoy you with knitting.
Yeah.
But the same basic function not bother you when it comes to stitching.
Right. No.
Doesn't make sense, but whatever.
Okay, the one thing that does kind of bug me is whenever, this is maybe why some of those cottages bugged me, is they will have little like 1 stitch or 2 stitches, it's like a tiny little snowflake made out of 4 stitches here and there and here and there. And if I'm using 2 threads, it's not a problem because I do the loopy thing. And if it's only 4 stitches, even if it's a variegated, unless it's a crazy variegated, but if it's tonal, I'll just do the loopy anyway because she's not going to notice.
Yeah.
You know? But then the finishing off can be tricky. Yeah. And then just having to count all those little tiny, sometimes that irritates me.
Okay.
Most of the time. I'll do it, but I have to, if I'm not in the mood, I'll do it another day.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But that does irritate me.
Takes up time, yeah.
Especially when it's out there all by itself. But doing little bits of color here and there on something that has more coverage, where you've got lots of stuff around it to anchor to, that doesn't bother me at all. It's when it's floating out there and I have to worry about, can you see it from the front if I carry? Because if I can carry and you can't see it, I'm going to carry.
Yeah. So like a snow scene and there's like 10 snowflakes in the middle of the sky. Yeah.
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 That kind of bugs me. And it looks cute and stuff and it's all pretty, but it could be a real pain stitch,
all right. Okay. All right. This one. Now, speaking of your houses, row after row after row of the same color where you can just mindlessly stitch. Does that get boring or irritating, or do you just enjoy that rhythm?
I don't mind that. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll do the windows and all the interior stuff first and the roof, so that then I know exactly where the house part goes so that I can just do it and not have to count it and then go, oh, you miscounted, your window is going to be wonky, Okay,
so you're happy to just sit there and just make X's forever or whatever stitch it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I'm all about it for a while and then it gets boring.
Yeah. Well, you do it whenever you need to do something mindless and you just kind of want to stitch but don't want to have to think about the pattern. Like the fill in, like Rose, remember the Spring Hill?
Yes.
And I also, on my Perfect World, the bottom has all of that fill in.
Right.
So I do all the detail work first and then I just go, okay, the rest is just fill in. So whenever I want to stitch but I don't want to focus on a chart, I can be like, oh, I can just work on that and do all that fill in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean that, that's fun, mindless stuff. Yeah. I just get bored after a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I save it for those times when I need something like that.
Yeah. But I'm with you on the snowflake in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting it and stopping it, and not having, and it's always white thread or black thread, and how do I make sure it's hidden? Yep.
I mean, white's not so bad because you can it's easier to hide unless your background is dark and then you've got this white thread going across the back. It's like
Yeah, no, I know what you mean there. It can be a pain. And then and making sure that you anchor those threads so they aren't coming out. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's not the worst. It's not like the hardest thing ever, but it's just tedious and annoying. You know. But sometimes it doesn't bother me, but I don't know. Lately, getting those cottages done with all their little bits got frustrating. I just think too, it's just the age I'm at and what, my hormones.
Could be. You can blame it on that.
Causing havoc. So.
Fully entitled to do that. That's no problem. Yep. All right. Yeah. Overrated, underrated, or we're going to run out of time. All right. Overrated, underrated. Cross-stitch charts printed in color.
I like the color.
Okay.
I like the color, and then if they don't have the color, like I've had a couple lately that haven't had the color, it's just all the symbols. Some of the symbols are so close together looking that I have to go in with my coloring pen in my books program, and I have to color them in.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I can't, my eyes go buggy trying to see the difference.
Okay.
I like the color.
So underrated for you. Like, give me more.
Yeah. If I have a choice, like if you do a download and you have a choice of color versus black and white, I always take the color.
Interesting.
I don't even want the black and white to take up space on my computer.
Interesting. No, I mean, that's, because way overrated to me. I do not like them. I find those colors just distracting, and I want straight black and white.
You've got a color thing, too. You've got a color thing. With your eyes, you have a color, so you don't see the color.
No, I mean, I see the
problems.
I see the colors. I see my red-green color blindness is when you get into shades of reds and greens. That's where I start having trouble.
Oh, okay.
Like, is this green or not? Sometimes it's not to me. But no, I see blue and yellow and orange and all those things.
Right. Okay.
No, it's I don't have that issue. It's like if you line up 10. Well, the most recent story of that was when I had like 6 skeins of red, different shades, and I went to Margaret and said which one matches whatever I was trying to match it, and she said,
right.
Well, and I laid them out, and she picked up one. She said, well, this one's green.
Oh, no.
Well, okay. And then I went over to the window in the sunlight. Oh yeah, it is green, but so that's where I have trouble because it's with the shades. But no, in general, right. I don't. But yeah, no, I just don't. I think I would say overrated because those charts with the color printing, just give me black and white. It's to me, it's easier to follow. And I can mark them off when I've done a section, I can mark it off where sometimes you can't always see what you marked off with the color printing. So, yeah.
I tend to take and put everything in my iPad anyway.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, okay.
And because you know how they say you're allowed to make a copy for your personal use.
Right.
Well, and then I make sure I delete it everywhere from the cloud, everything. Totally delete it.
Yep. So
that there's nothing floating around out there. But that way I can enlarge it because with my glasses, and you have to have the chart a certain distance, I need to be able to read it and make it big enough to read it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a good point to insert the protect people's copyrights, buy your own copy.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yes, I take my copies that I bought, and I make my copy. It just isn't a physical copy. It's a digital copy, but I don't put it out there. I delete it. I delete it everywhere from the cloud, all of that.
Yep. Buy your own.
Yes.
Buy your own. Yep. All right, one more underrated, overrated. And that one, let's go with taping hoops.
Oh, like the wrapping?
Yeah, wrapping hoops. Yeah.
I like it. I've started doing it because I didn't used to, and it would always slip and slide, but I like when you wrap it, it holds it firmer, and there's not a lot of movement. Yep.
So underrated for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've started doing it to all of mine now.
Underrated to me. If I buy a new hoop, that's first thing I do is I wrap it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, no way I'm ever, once I started doing that long ago, no way I'm ever stitching on a hoop without at least one ring being wrapped. Yeah. Yeah,
I tried wrapping both rings on some of them, and the screws aren't big enough.
Yeah.
So I just wrapped the inner ring.
Yep. Same here. Yeah. It's not worth it to wrap both. Some people do.
No, yeah, but they must have like a really long screw. I did it once and I'm like, I can't even get it. It won't even work.
Yeah, no, I just wrap the inner one too. Yeah. But
yeah, and then you have to wrap it where the lays flush next to each other. Don't overlap.
yeah. Oh, good tip. Because
when I first did mine, I overlapped, and then I'm like, why do people do this? It's not holding at all. It's even worse than if I didn't wrap it. And then I went back and looked and saw, oh, they don't overlap. They butt it up.
Yep. And I wonder how many people who don't wrap because they say it doesn't work or they didn't like it. I wonder how many of those people overlapped each one, because you got to lay them side by each. Overlapping, I agree with you. Overlapping is actually worse than just bare wood.
Yeah. Yep. And I was like, this is terrible. I was like, why do people like this? It doesn't work.
Yep.
So then I went and looked and really looked close. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to overlap. You're supposed to just butt it up.
Yep, side by each. Yep. Yeah. Just go to Joann's and or wherever, and just get a
twill tape on Amazon. I couldn't find it at Joann's. I looked and I couldn't find any.
I had to ask, but I found it. But I bought a big old roll of it, and now I have it forever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because how many hoops you gonna wrap, for crying out loud? Yeah.
I don't know. I've wrapped a lot.
I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, 7 plus the ones that are being in use. So I've done a bunch, but still. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can buy a big old roll and have it last forever. Yep.
Yeah, and you can use it in decorating if you're going for that real primitive look,
Yep. But wrap your hoops. Way underrated. Way underrated. Mm-hmm. Difference making. Yeah. Yeah.
I wrap the wood ones and the plastic ones. And
Yep. Way underrated.
It does make a difference, because I stopped using a hoop because the ones I was using, I was probably using, I know I was using cheap ones that I bought at Hobby Lobby way back when I first started stitching. And it did make some marks on my stuff. Very first couple of pieces that I stitched, and then I even washed it and it didn't come out. So I was like, And then I just learned that I could just hold the fabric in hand and stitch, and then it also sometimes those inner rings on the hoops tend to be, unless you buy the expensive nice hoops, but the cheapo ones, the inner ring's always a little icky.
Yeah.
And it can mess up your stitches. I don't know. I didn't use hoops for a long time, and now I do on some things, and I don't. It depends.
Yep. Now, to me, it's like needles. Buy a good hoop, buy a good needle, and they'll both last forever. And Yeah,
I bought the more expensive hoops, and they are so nice.
Yep.
So nice.
Yeah, the rings fit together better, and they're gonna last. They're going to last a long, long time. So,
and there's no burrs or weirdness that's going to snag your fabric or thread.
Right. And the hardwood's good quality, or the hardware is good quality, so it'll tighten down. And
yep.
Do you use a screwdriver to tighten down?
No.
No? Okay.
I can get it tight enough. And my cross stitch, some cross stitch fabric I pull tighter, and then others I kind of leave it a little, not super loose, but not super stretchy drum tight. I don't want to overstretch the holes, and then you stitch, and then your stitches, it relaxes and it gets all weird,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of a judgment call there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't overstretch. The higher counts I stretch more because they don't stretch though, like the lower counts. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
28 and 32 count, you can really stretch that out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
But 40 count doesn't really, it holds itself.
No, yeah, and that's for me that's about all I use. So
right, yeah.
I pull it tight, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I do stretch my higher counts more.
Yeah, but the lower counts, there's a lot more give. Got to be careful. Yep.
Yeah, and it depends on the fabric too, and like I've said, if I have that 28 or 30, especially the 28's the worst. The 28 count linen that's real open and kind of weedy looking.
Yeah, yuck.
I go and I soak that stuff in hot water and wash
shrink it down.
Yeah, it folds it folds up the fibers.
Yep.
And it tightens it up a little bit, you know. because I do not like working on open weedy linen.
Yep. I don't either, so
all.
I don't even buy it. Yep.
Oh. Well, sometimes it comes in the kit, or I've got it, so I just wash it, soak it, hot water, boiling water, and boil it.
Shrink it right down. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't shrink too much, but it definitely folds open some of those really skinny ones. You can see they've been fluffed open.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. That's going to be enough. Sunday, it's the Needlepoint Dads. Friday, it's the Cindy WIP Parade, 3 o'clock on the YouTube channel, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on the YouTube channel. And then Sunday is the Needlepoint Dads. And then a break until January 10, with the exception of Christmas Day at 3 o'clock. Join us live for just a stitching and yakking thing. Yeah.
Right.
There we have it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.